Salam alaikum to some of you and peace to the rest of you. This is your co-pilot, Coal Black, narrating for for your pilot, Jet Black. Yes, we are related. Yes, we believe in nepotism, specifically black nepotism here at Jet Black Air. Yes, that is why you cannot see very well into the cockpit when the door is open. We are here, but both of us are in here simultaneously, making it hard for you to see. Do not panic. This plane isn't flying by itself or using some artificial intelligence. The air used to fly this plane is the other air we also know as African intelligence. This message must be started with a peace greeting because it is a religious message. And you knew that when you saw in which playlist it appears. Allow me to start off by giving shouts out to Bilal of the features. Bilal Gadzekpo, and please forgive me for mispronouncing your surname. Israel Young Lion, representing the real Israel as a Muslim more authentically than the modern-day European imposters claiming to be from Abraham. Tika Harding for her good intentions and reminders. And Black Agent with his fist in the air even when he is facing much trial and hardship. Shouts out also to Dwight Hayes, Abdullah bin Babi, Abdullah Abu Thalatha, Aled Lasta, and the King of Wilcox Street for being my first subscribers since before I was Black Hat, talking more about race than about the gender war within our race. So let's start with our man Bilal of the features, who is so black. He sneezes melanin. He is so black he has a second job standing outside of people's bedroom windows at sunrise so they can sleep late more easily. He is so black he sits in a hot tub to make tea for Earl Grey. Please don't tell him I gave him all of those compliments though. He doesn't like to be flattered even when it's true. Not that you would ever see him blush. Bilal just got through roasting Farouk Post, a so-called Muslim, for trying to run safety and defense for the apartheid supporters and white supremacists while hiding his leaning behind his beard and thobe and his own skin color. Farouk Post is out here trying to say that President Ramaphosa of South Africa lied in the White House to Donald Trump and all reporters, forgetting three things. Cyril Ramaphosa is not a law enforcement officer, so it's not his job to keep track of individual capital crimes. Also, if Boers were killed for land they didn't rightfully own from the gate, then they could have easily given the land back to a black family from whom it was expropriated wrongly generations ago. But we know they wouldn't do that if they had guns to their heads. I know that because the white South Africans who teach English here are all Boers, never the descendants of the British, and they chafe under the authority of brown Muslims telling them they can't drink, fornicate, dress immodestly, or behave immodestly in the public. Hell, one guy named David Oastias, whose name I will not hide because he was that kind of guy, celebrated the passing of Nelson Mandela, missed the old days, and then had the nerve to be a damn bum in his classroom, was only kept as long as he was because of his wife, who was an excellent teacher on the women's side, and the company didn't want to split up a married couple. When she resigned, he had saved up no money, was warned by the police to not wear short shorts out in public again, and was in need of another job. He was let go so he could stay with his wife outside of Saudi Arabia, and he begged to be kept here for longer. Then the third thing that these so-called Muslims who are white supremacists forgot is that the law regarding expropriation of land without compensation in South Africa is not racially written, has many safeguards to maintain compensation, and damn near demands compensation unless the land is all but abandoned by a landowner who was capable of maintaining and using it. If a landowning Boer was in a coma and only did not use his land because of his coma, the records that show he was in a coma would demand that his land be compensated in a purchase and not just seized by force like how his grandparents got it from the real South Africans. Outer here, a Boer who was honest, whose name I forgot but who is famous in South Africa, already informed Trump that there isn't some sort of white genocide there, and I wouldn't support one if there was. But I would support a mass execution of those who don't give up the land. And yes, being a Boer is how I would identify someone who is on someone else's land. The pay gap in South Africa based on race is effing insulting and enraging. And if it takes shooting male Boers in the head to get that land back and shackling the Boer women and re-educating the Boer children to believe their ancestors were the crap they actually were is what it takes, then the fault isn't on the black folks forced to do it, but on the Boers who didn't sort themselves out when they realized they were living off of their grandparents' oppression of the real South Africans. Muslims are required to be as militant as what I just said against the oppressors in order to remain Muslim, and if they side with oppressors over their victims, then I really and honestly can't tell if they are still Muslim or not. So I assume they aren't. My avoidance of West African Bantu features in black women for marriage is different from their unscholarly rulings against these same traits as deserving the same dowries for marriage. My reasons are because I know what these sisters think of their own features and it's not our job to make them feel differently about them. I know they judge how they should behave by what they can see in the mirror. These little pale sandcrackers who think they are superior because they are the grandchildren of non-black Bedouins are different. They simply think black is ugly, and therefore they think that their little racial opinions born out of ignorance and proximity to whiteness are actually Allah's rulings and a part of His guidance. So some of them pass these retarded rulings after they have studied fewer years than below. They think because they grew up as Arabs with Arab culture, which isn't monolithic, by the way, that they are qualified to take their tastes in beauty and encode them as religious rulings. As my cousin Jet Black would say, fit the gag out of my face with all of that shall bit. However, know the difference between a backwards Bedouin who can't tell the difference between the words Arab and Muslim and an educated Muslim who knows what justice is, even when it favors the darker party in a dispute. If you really just aren't convinced that our religion is real, it has to be because of something else, not because some backwards non-blacks who inherited it are racist and want to be white. Their obsession with whiteness isn't because of their Islam. It's in disregard for it. And with a little education they can understand this. If you just believe in something else, be honest about it if you're convinced. If you simply aren't convinced that you're forbidden from drinking, be honest about it. I can shoot down those objections too, but be honest about them if they are your objections. Don't repeat excuses that Walter Rodney wrote in the 70s before he said in his new edition in the 80s that the invasion didn't happen. I fell for the foolishness at one time, because anti-black racism was so present in so many cultures that I couldn't believe that there was any revolutionary aspect to Islam that opposed white supremacy. And that in order for anyone to religiously oppose white supremacy, they would have to start another religion because not one of them had a problem with white supremacy. Blackanoia is real, and many of us have it. But it's not a faultless understanding of other races, either. If you really think another path is the truth, at least you are being honest. But we on this path are not selling you out to our enemies. Those who claim it, and even think they are on it, yet side against you when you are right are the ones who aren't on this path. Don't call us sellouts anymore for praying to Allah 5 times a day. Call the ones next to us disbelievers for their white supremacy, or even for their assumptions of white normality. Don't challenge us anymore to prove we're still black. Challenge the opposition to prove they are still Muslim if they're the ops when you are in the right. Allahu Akbar and long life Black Africa. Just because the racists don't like it. Thanks for listening. As always, thank you for choosing Jet Black Air, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Justice for our race. Forever. Dal.